even from as early back as the first Ant-Man, when we sort of set the stage for going into the quantum realm. You're right, the good news is the bad news. It really is infinite and kind of ripe for inventing. I always liked in the comics, in the microverse where, there are civilizations of people who live down there, and I seem to remember there was some story too where like there was a whole civilization from Earth's future that saw whatever sort of bad things were going to befall the planet and shrunk themselves down, and they exist in the quantum realm, all that sort of stuff. But we really had to take a look at how much quantum realm the story of Ant-Man and Wasp could sort of contain, because we're telling a lot of story there. We have an actual technical consultant, a quantum technical consultant, this guy Spiros, who had that position on the first movie and on this one. And his job is to sort of dumb down for idiots like us quantum mechanics and quantum physics. So part of that was really talking about quantum entanglement in our movie and also like what it could be. And really when you get down to a certain quantum level, it becomes less reality and more sort of probability. So there are all these different aspects to it of like, physical spaces, probabilities, alternate universes and events. And it's so heady and so much stuff that we really had to sort of decide, okay, we're gonna bite off these certain elements of quantum realm for this movie. From the very beginning, we talked about Janet, 30 years in the quantum realm, if she's still alive. Is she young? Has she aged? What has she been doing down there? And we really we all love the idea that seeding in these ideas that not only has she survived, but she has evolved. Because we're talking about quantum level physics, and the idea that she at that level is not only surviving that environment, but being affected by that environment. And in terms of for us, it takes centuries and millennia for evolution to occur, that maybe it could occur faster on that level, and that she's not just walking around wearing a tattered version of the Wasp suit, but she's got these powers that are sort of inherent to her. And just laying the groundwork and just starting to ask those questions about that she's changed. She's not the same person she was 30 years ago. We had numerous conversations about that, and really about sort of how much of those we were actually going to demonstrate on camera in this movie, to sort of set the stage. And also just obviously about her look and her whole vibe in the movie. And there are a few Easter eggs, if you see the movie again, just in terms of Hank and Janet are leaving the quantum realm, just looking environmentally about some of the things that you might see down there. Part of it was building this whole internal logic about the journey down to the quantum realm. In the first movie, when Scott's just in the suit, he makes it down to this level we call the void, which, dramatically in that movie was meant to look like, this is the end of the line. You don't come back from this. And of course, he does come back from it. But then in this movie, building this quantum tunnel in this pod that he pilots down there, the idea that if you can get through that void, if you can burst through that outer membrane, maybe there's this whole other level beyond the quantum realm, which we see in the movie briefly. And that's where Janet is. But she even talks about meet me when Scott Lang is channeling Janet, and it says time and space work very differently down here. You gotta meet me at this sort of the wasteland just beyond the void. It's like she's sort of navigated up to that area closest to where they can get, which seems like a little more inhospitable and uninhabitable, but maybe further beyond there's something more civilized going on. So we liked that idea. I mean, that's absolutely the question, and what struck us as interesting about the way that we resolve her character and her relationship with Bill Foster is that, she is cured, but is it permanently or temporarily? And also that even though there's sort of been the writing of this thing, how deep is the damage? Does the damage go away? So I find her to be a really compelling character, and I like this mystery about what's going to become of her? We like the idea that through thick and thin, Bill Foster is going to stick with her, but it feels like there's a lot more story to tell about her, and that maybe she could go either way.